What up, what up? So we just got to Huntington Beach where we're meeting up with Mike, who's got this beautiful 912 with the STI motor. I'm super stoked. It's a JDM motor with a turbo, a lightweight car. It's gonna be tough to beat. We just got here. We're just gonna say what's up real quick. What's up, Mike?
Yo.
Look at this beautiful car.
What's up, man?
All right, we're gonna go and get some B-roll real quick.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike? All right, we'll be right back. Woo! Let's go. What up, everybody? Today we are joined by Mike, who owns this beautiful 912 STI. We're just driving around all over Huntington Beach right now, basically getting B-rolls, and the sun was going down. It's so beautiful, and you know, right now we're kind of fighting time for light, but we want to definitely share Mike's story about what makes this 912 so great. Of course, we're doing this kind of off the cuff, just straight up here out at the gas station. So, you know, it'll be a little bit noisy, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, that's what it's about. So Mike, you bought this car when?
I bought this car about 12 years ago. And it was actually a trade from a 57 Chevy Bel Air that my dad had given me. And it was so rusted out that didn't want to put enough time and money into restoring it that I really wanted a Porsche at the time, that I put it up for trade on the internet. And while living in the Midwest at the time, I found a guy that was willing to trade a 912 for the 57 Chevy that I had. And at that time, I didn't even know what a 912 was. But, you know, push come to shove, we did the trade straight up, shipped cars to each other, and yeah, made it all the way out here and rebuilt.
So you had a Bel Air, which is a domestic car, and then you were looking for a Porsche, and somehow that trade just ended up working.
It worked out beautifully. I don't know, timing was perfect, and again, yeah, I was looking for a 914, but the 912 happened at the right time. So yeah, couldn't be happier.
Was the person looking for a Bel Air?
He was like, that's my dream car. You know, I've always wanted one growing up, and I really want to get get seated in one and drive it around and know if I really love it or not. So I was like, this is a great way to do it. It's not too expensive, trade straight up.
Wow.
And yeah, then you can decide if you want to rebuild it and actually put mine.
Just curious, was he or you waiting for a long time for this type of trade to come up?
Good point. I think we were both probably 2 or 3 months in.
Okay.
Yeah, he was trying to sell his car and nobody was taking it, and I was just looking for trades. I wasn't trying to sell it straight up, so I was looking for trades. And yeah, he contacted me. It's like, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but you know, I have this for sale. Are you interested in trades? I'm like, yeah.
Man,
let's talk.
That is so crazy. I mean, if you guys have something crazy wild out there, I mean, I guess just put it out there. It's the internet, right?
That's right. It's worth what somebody else will pay for it.
Right.
So
man,
trades are fun.
Okay, so then you made the trade and then
made the trade and shipped cars to each other without ever seeing it in person. So that in itself is kind of crazy right now.
Yeah.
Shipped cars to each other, and I was living in the Midwest at the time, and got the car, and it just needed a few parts to really be able to drive it around a little bit. But totally needed a full body resto. It was not in perfect condition by any means. So since then, graduated college, drove it around, tinkered with it, graduated, and then got a job out in the Bay Area in Oakland. And thankfully, my brother was living there at the time, and he was already a Porsche owner. So he pretty much guided me into rebuilding the car, and we just dove in.
Okay.
Head first.
So you got the car, obviously 912 motor, probably stock, didn't have much power.
Right, so yeah, when I first got it, it actually had an industrial 356 motor out of a boat. It was a marine application, so it was probably pushing maybe 50 horsepower.
Wow.
Very highly underpowered. It was probably a 1500 cc, I think, with a stock 901 transmission. And yeah, after 4 years of, hard work and dedication in rebuilding the car, at the end of the day, we still had 50 horsepower.
Okay, so you went through that, and then after 4 years, realized hey, look, I need more juice.
Right, so after we finished it, it buttoned up. It looks like it does now. Driving it around, yeah, barely getting any power out of the thing. Tried 3 different sets of carburetors to see if we could really juice it a little bit, maybe pep it up a little, and just really couldn't get it buttoned down. And yeah, I was dabbling the idea of the 6 conversion, go with the 911 motor. But then I found a guy on Naziak on the forums that happened to be doing the Subaru swap. So I started becoming great friends with him, and we're still good friends. And he was version 1, and with all his ideas, and if he had done it better ideas, we have version 2.
Okay. What did he learn from version 1 from version 2 that helped you out?
I think a couple of the big things was the probably cooling. So we went a different cooling route for water on the car. We took that from a different build actually on the internet, built by Wevo. It's called the PVX build, and so we mimicked that, knowing his cooling system was a little bit different, as well as the ECU. So this is a Japanese spec motor, so we had to place the ECU somewhere with all the electronics now, because we're adding electronics to the car. We took his idea and actually, instead of mounting it on the back so everybody can see it, we mounted it under the passenger seat.
Okay.
So it's nice and hidden and clean, and it's easy to get to.
Right. So from start to end, how long did it take you?
For the motor conversion, it was about 2 years.
Wow.
And the hardest part was really getting the cooling down. Everything else kind of buttoned in pretty well. I mean, you had some hiccups here and there, but the fact that we wanted to run a cooling system on the car without cutting anything on the car, so we could go back to complete stock, that was probably the hardest part. We added 2 radiators in series, did a couple test drives, and no matter what, with double fans on each, it just got too hot. So we revamped again, did a 3rd radiator, added some capacity to it, and it does the perfect trick.
Wow. So where are you now? Is your car like running smooth?
Yeah, so my most recent upgrades, I can say it's running where I want it to be running. My most recent upgrades had been a limited slip in the rear. So now I got some traction on both wheels and tires, which is awesome. And I finally got a front sway bar that's big enough to really hold the front of the car down for steering on the track. Those are the big 2 upgrades recently, and I've done a couple track days since, and I'm happily in love.
Got it. So these STI motors with the turbo, your blow-off sounds lovely. And actually, funny enough, you were at a party in Newport Beach, right?
Yeah.
And
Wolfpack, right?
Yeah, at Kevin's, right? And I didn't realize until you blew by us when you were leaving, and I heard the blow-off, I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And they were like, yeah, that's the 912 with the STI motor. I was like, damn it! Why did you leave? And of course, I had no clue, because it just, the way it's built, it's just so clean.
Right,
you know?
you wouldn't think otherwise until
Right,
you
right.
go by.
So I know STIs typically make close to 300 horsepower at the crank.
Yeah.
Is that what it's doing right now?
So this is actually an EJ207. It's a 2005 Japanese spec C. So this has actually, they've done a limited numbers of them. It has a higher red line. It goes to 8,000 stock. And this is putting out, it's got a twin scroll turbo as well. And this is putting out 300 to the rear wheel.
Wow.
So at the crank, probably 350.
What does your car weigh?
It's about 2,000 pounds with all the carbon fiber and fiberglass.
Those are some good numbers. 2,000 pounds, 350 horses at the crank, turbo, and it sounds, is there any type of lag in it?
There's not that much lag because of the twin scroll. It really helps. But after 2,300, 2,400, it's there. It's on. It's game time after that.
Make sure you get my head nod. It's good. It's good head nod. So, tranny wise, what do you have for a tranny?
Good question. So obviously the original transmission, the 901, from all the forums that we were reading, is only really good to about 200, 250 horse. And after that, you're going to start having problems. So we ended up going with a 911 transmission. It's a 83 with a 75 nose cone that actually helps combine the speedometer with the transmission because it's mechanical speedo. So it's a 911 or 915 trans with a limited slip and a taller 5th gear. So for highway, I am now running about 3,000 at 80 to 85 miles an hour at $3,000. It was much higher with the stock 5th.
Got it. Well, I mean, man, a turbo and 8,000 red line, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So your gearing, do you find that your transmission, your gearing is mated pretty well with the motor, or do you find that it's
Yeah, I think it works pretty well. Like I said, I've done track day at Laguna Seca, and yeah, I think it's right where it needs to be. The new 5th gear is definitely a tall jump. It's more the V8 conversion guys go with it. It's definitely a long bump down, but I've done the math, and I'm getting 30 miles a gallon on the highway, so pretty fuel efficient too. Who knew?
Man, those are amazing numbers all around. Okay. Man, that sounds such like the dream build to me, to be honest. I mean, when you bought this car 12 years ago, obviously that was a really good time to buy.
Right.
So, I
yes.
mean, but you got to trade for it. So, within the scope of things, you know, you got a shell. I mean, did it look like this, or this was all redone?
No, it didn't look like this. I don't even think, I mean, the fenders, the bumpers, the hoods, even the rear fenders, that's all been replaced. I know I replaced the door. So I think my passenger door might be original, my driver's side isn't, and the rest of it is basically chassis.
Got it.
Yeah, we've gone through the whole thing. You can still see my patina on like the turn signals, the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, my turn signals, the horns in the front, the grills, my rear view mirror, my windshield wipers, and all the body trim around my glass. That's all original, but everything else has been pretty much replaced.
Got it. And the color, I mean, I love this color. It's like an ivory white of some sort. Where's it from?
This is a 2-part epoxy Wimbledon white that we got. Basically, we did all the sanding ourselves and brought it to a professional actual Porsche paint shop and gave him the paint and had him shoot it for us.
How long was it in paint for?
He shot it for, over like a couple days time, so not that long, and it was literally a block and a half away from my brother's garage at the time. This was perfect. So
for sure. Turbo life right there. Ooh.
Do you know how much time he has in this thing?
All right, let's do the ride along. I love this pink fluorescent light coming at us. Oh, that's cush.
That work?
Yep. All right.
I'm gonna do shoulders though.
Man, I've been in a lot of cars today. This is the one I'm most excited for. So
there we go.
Those old school gauges.
A little bit more comfortable. Get out of the city a little bit.
That smells so crazy. I can never get tired of that blow off, man.
Yeah.
That sounds so badass.
So here's 4th. Feel it? Yeah. And then 5th.
Oh wow. Yeah, it does drop a lot.
It's significantly lower.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'll never get tired of that. Yo, that is insane. That is so good. Power just feels great. That blow off though, my goodness. How often do you drive this car?
At least once a week. Put a grin on my face for at least Friday. Oh no, Yui.
This guy's gonna want to talk to you for sure. He's gonna go, damn. What do you think? It's turbo, bro.
Turbo.
That blow off, huh? Dude, I was just telling Mike, I was in 3 cars today, over 750 horses, and I gotta say, man, this car is insane. It just is. This one's put the biggest smile on my face today, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Dude.
Ready?
Oh my, yeah.